We are live 364 days a year.
What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get sushi after Monday Night Raw?
Welcome to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, a show where a rotating cast of wrestling fans from around the world come and share and debate their opinions, with live comments from all of you shown throughout, as after all, fans are what makes wrestling so special. So sit back, grab a beverage, and enjoy the show.
What's going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Wednesday, December 10th. It's a news day here at WR. We got a lot of things to break down. We've got a lot of fun news to break down from around the wrestling world. Of course, you know, as Ben said, sit back, grab a beverage, have a good time. No doubt about it. He's not here today, but happy hump day, WR crew from Fernando Zayas, friend of the show, who is here today. Out of the gates, Numero One Superfly as well with hello. What's going on, Numero One? But let me introduce the panel for today to you because I've got a great one. First and foremost, let me send this one out to the DMV area, the DC area. This man is geographically as close to seeing his last match as anybody I know. And he may even get in that building this week, I've heard, through the rumor mill. Talk to me, Ant U. How are you?
What's going on, people? Happy Wednesday. I love being on this show. I love the panel we got today. It's going to be a great time. And yes, there is, cross our fingers. There may be a way that I get to hang out with John Cena and Obafemi beating up Cody Rhodes this weekend. So I'm excited for that, guys.
I can't wait for Oba and Cody either, too. By the way, you couldn't be more spot on when it comes to that. There is no doubt in my mind, but we've also got one more panelist. I've got to keep this one on the East Coast, ironically, unless you're thinking NFC East. And if that didn't give it away, I'll tell you this. Our resident Boston Cowboys fan, my good friend Dez, or as his mother calls him, Desmond. How are you, my friend? Good to have you as always. Happy Wednesday.
I always love the unique intros. They're always great, but I'm doing good. Hope everybody's having a great December so far. As you can see, we are in the festive holiday, but for this week, of course, for WWE fans, it is pretty somber, but it doesn't matter because right now we're going to raise the mood up and talk about some wrestling.
No doubt. We've got all kinds of good stuff on tap today, too. That is a great call. I can't find the appropriate camera angle currently, though, so we are really struggling technically out of the gates, but I found it. We're back.
There we go.
Sorry. Way to shuffle those. I'm going to blame Kobe Galanzowski because, I mean, why
would you blame?
Sorry, Kobe. It was your
Geno
fault.
Smith,
It
maybe.
wasn't.
You could blame Geno Smith.
He's moving the stuff around. I know it. This entire time. Okay. Let's get into our first topic today, though. Let's talk about AJ Styles, and let's talk about somebody else talking about AJ Styles, and that's John Cena. And this is really interesting. If you caught the interview with Chris Van Vliet, John Cena was asked who he thinks that the GOAT is in the ring. And while he mentioned Shawn's going to be upset about this, and he mentioned Shawn Michaels and their matches that they had at WrestleMania and over the years and all that and the other. At the end of the day, he picked AJ Styles as his GOAT in the interview, and he explained why. And man, I really respected it and appreciated it. Were you taken aback by this? Were you shocked by this, Ant? I'm going to start with you just because we're going to go, age before beauty there. Sorry. I didn't mean it like that, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean, Ant. It's all love. Talk to me really quickly about, were you shocked to hear John Cena call AJ Styles the GOAT?
I was not. And as we talked about on Monday, this GOAT conversation is so subjective. I'm not shocked to hear who anybody's GOAT is. And the way John Cena broke down why AJ Styles was his GOAT was just beautiful for who John Cena is. So I respect what he said. I respect that he called out AJ because, like, AJ Styles, it's hard to believe that he's been doing wrestling for as long as he has. And I mean, I remember being in high school myself watching AJ Styles wrestle. and I'm old, so that was a long time ago. But yeah, man, I completely respect Cena's decision on why he picked AJ and not Shawn. But he still gave a little bit of rub to Shawn Michaels, calling him out in the interview. There was a lot of people he didn't call out in the interview. So if the GOAT calls you his GOAT, then that's pretty impressive. That's like Tom Brady. That's like Tom Brady saying Peyton Manning is his GOAT.
Or
like
Mahomes.
It's
almost more like Mahomes, I think, because of the age difference. It's almost like him being like, Mahomes is the best I've ever seen do it, right? And you know what I found interesting, though, that you pointed out, and it's super true. You mentioned he also gave Shawn the rub because he didn't mention a bunch of others. Right? He didn't list a ton. He also sort of gave Shawn the rub, and it came across to me a little bit like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but... And in that way, I actually almost appreciated the statement more. Dez, I do want to get your thoughts on it as well. And then what I think we ought to do is the three of us pick our GOAT, given we were asked the same question. But first, I do want to ask your thoughts on what John had to say about AJ and Shawn and everything else, Dez.
Yeah, I think it's a great shout. I got to say, isn't it crazy to think that like 20 years ago in this very moment, if someone said that John Cena would ever call AJ Styles the GOAT, you would think it's crazy because, of course, with TNA, him going to New Japan, I think it's just a great idea of how good AJ Styles is because I love Shawn Michaels. He's always been one of my all-time favorites. But I feel like it's a good point because AJ, he's not only done it in WWE, he's done it in TNA, he's done it in New Japan, he's done it in Ring of Honor. Like, he's done it everywhere. Even in WCW, he was even part of there when he first started out. So I think it's such a great shout. It also just goes how deep the respect is between the two of them. Of course, Cena mentioned on the CVV interview when he gave him that little shout out, like he did it because it was the right thing to do. And he's like, that's my guy, and I'm going to go out there and say that great thing for him. I will say, me personally, I love Shawn Michaels. He's always been one of my all-time favorites. There's a reason why he's called Mr. WrestleMania. But I'm not going to knock someone for saying AJ Styles is a GOAT because, like Annie, you said, it's subjective, right? Who you think is a GOAT is totally up to you. You can base it off in-ring ability. You can base it off promo work. You can base it off character work. You can base it off, like, match style all around. I think it's a very subjective topic, but to put AJ Styles in the conversation, I think it's 100% valid. And if Cena's saying it, then, it must be true, right?
That's where I'm on the same page as you. I think it's very fascinating that Cena is the one that said it. And I think it's really interesting here. Numero One Superfly adds to that. I respect Cena's opinion on who he thinks is the GOAT. Yeah, I think that's a good guy to ask, for lack of a better way to put it, right? If you're going to ask anybody who you think the GOAT is, how about the one that we're talking about potentially being the GOAT himself? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's John Cena. And given his resume and everything now, though, let's have some fun with this one, my friends, because let's put ourselves in John Cena's sneakers for a second here. And let's pick who, if we were asked that same question, whether it was by CVV or David Letterman, whoever's doing the interview, Barbara Walters, whatever, right? Yeah, somebody's doing the interview and they ask you, who is the greatest wrestler of all time? Dez, I'm going to start with you. Who's your pick? And give me why as well.
I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say John Cena, because for me, I grew up in a lot of young, like not really younger, but like more like mid 2010s is when I started to watch. And that's when John Cena was a massive name in the WWE. And he's one of the main reasons why a lot of us are into wrestling. I know people like hated him back then, of course, the, Cena, let's go Cena sucks chant. But after everything, plus I even met the guy. So, I got to say John Cena, he's the GOAT for me.
I love that. And I respect it, Dez. Could you see him?
I can't. No, actually,
no, you couldn't. So you met him, but it's kind of up in the air because you couldn't see him.
Yeah, it was a free trial.
Totally, it was a free trial.
It was a free trial.
We've got Fernandez. With Stone Cold is the GOAT. He saved the WWE from going out of business during the Monday Night Wars. Argument to be made there, Fernando. No doubt about that. But right. I also don't want to spoil Ant U's pick here before I give my own, because obviously as a guy that, you've watched multi-generations of the WWE and professional wrestling when it comes to that, I'm really curious your pick. We have one pick, Cena, and then Cena himself picked AJ Styles, but who does Ant U have?
So the little kid in me wants to say Hulk Hogan because growing up, he was the figure that was bigger than life. It was the red and yellow. It was the say your prayers, eat your vitamins, the 24-inch pythons and all that. But because he's retiring this weekend and we're no longer going to see him in the ring, I think the man who had to carry a company after the Attitude Era, and led it into the Ruthless Aggression era. And then when WWE went away from that and went to the PG era, he sat back and he put the company on his back and has done more Make-A-Wish visits than anybody else. He was legitimately the face of the business. Mr. Fruity Pebbles himself, John Cena.
Wow. I am beyond stunned. I'm beyond stunned by that pick, but I do respect it. And honestly, would have respected had you gone with Hogan, given, like you said, as a I mean, there's a lot of people you can name, but if you know me well, there's only one answer to this. The greatest wrestler of all time is Shawn Michaels. And it's really not close. He missed 4 years of his prime and had 2 Hall of Fame careers on either side. Played every role possible in professional wrestling. He is the best at what we watch. He's the very best. Was he the most successful, maybe financially, or like a crossover star? And I'm sure the internet police will come at me with the drawing money, all this and that, the other. No. The most valuable person on your roster the entire time he was active was Shawn Michaels. That's a fact. Because he could do everything, and he could make other people look good. He could make himself look great, and it doesn't matter. None of it mattered. Shawn Michaels is the best to ever do it. And to me, there's nearly no debate. Ric Flair is unbelievable. Jack Ireland's here in the comments with that. I love Rick. In a la Shawn Michaels, when Ric Flair was asked the same question, I'm sorry, a la John Cena, when Ric Flair was asked the same question, his answer was Shawn Michaels. He said that Shawn was better than him, that he was the best to ever do it. He's mentioned Stone Cold in other interviews, but Ric Flair's favorite wrestler is Shawn Michaels, and that says something. And that's why he also handpicked him to retire him. So and I'm sorry, I love you moment. Come on, it doesn't get any better, right, Ant?
Oh, definitely. I respect what you're saying so much, and like we'll never sway each other's opinions on this, but I gotta say, Shawn had Diesel. Shawn had DX.
He did.
Shawn started with Marty Jannetty.
Sure.
25 years. John Cena has been by himself.
I see, but he's also had the weird tag runs. Remember, Shawn had Bull Buchanan at one point. Don't forget, Shawn didn't go. John didn't go solo till later. The other thing about Shawn that I find most interesting is, so Shawn made Razor Ramon. Absolutely, at WrestleMania 10 in that ladder match.
1, 2, 3 Kid made Razor Ramon.
Shawn made Razor Ramon in the ladder match.
The ladder match was a prodigy of the 1, 2, 3 Kid.
Whoa. I love Sean Waltman.
I'll give you that.
Shawn made Razor Ramon. And then he also made Brett look great during their rivalry until it got a little funky.
Yeah.
But then when he comes back on the other side of the 4-year injury, let's not forget he made Stone Cold on the way out.
Oh, yeah. Shawn's got
Mike
one
Tyson.
of the top 3 WrestleMania entrances of all time. When
100%.
he came in on the
absolutely, yeah.
And then
number 2 would be Rusev. Number 1, John Cena's got one of the best WrestleMania entrances.
Not only that, Shawn lets first off, then he remakes Jericho in their WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
He remakes Angle in their WrestleMania match.
Puts Diesel over.
Whoa, Fernando, we can have this argument. Yes. Bret Hart made Stone Cold in the submission match out of the gates. Stone Cold didn't win his first title until Mike Tyson counted that 3 count against Shawn Michaels in the WrestleMania main event. It's the first time he won the WWF title. I would actually argue that Shawn did as much for Stone Cold Steve Austin and him being propelled into the future as Bret Hart did. I would make that argument. And then the other thing that I'm going to add for Sean is this. So then he returns, and yes, he beats Triple H in the unsanctioned match. Yes, he wins the Elimination Chamber. He does all that. But he makes John Cena in John Cena's first title defense WrestleMania main event. Not as the challenger.
You're right. No, you're right.
Yeah, he does.
And
I don't hate it.
At WrestleMania 20, he also made a guy that we can't really talk about, but at the time, it made sense. At WrestleMania 20, it made sense.
You're right.
And so what Sean has that not almost anybody else has is he has a level of accomplishment where you can argue how great he was in winning scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison to other resumes, he's got the best losing resume in the history of wrestling.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I think the total package of all of that is what gives Sean the nudge in my eyes, as far as that's why he's my go. But I mean, like we said, this is as subjective as you can ask.
Yeah. And Jake the Snake Roberts made Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let's be real.
That's as true as hey, we could do this the rest of the day.
Yeah, I know.
We got to keep rolling here. We got to keep rolling. We got another segment to get to here because Athena has hit 3 years as champion, one of the most dominant reigns we've seen in recent times, to say the very least. Everyone keeps talking about her, and I think the key to this whole thing has been patience, because I think we all knew all along how good Athena is, but now the demand is there for Athena in such a unique way after these 3 years. I think it's just absolutely incredible. But Dez, I do want to get your thoughts when it comes to Athena's 3-year reign. Pretty incredible, whether it's ROH or any company. 3 years as champion is absolutely outstanding. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. I feel like Athena has done such a great job in AEW. I'm really surprised she's a champion for 3 years, though. I felt like before Billy Starks was going to be the person that was going to take the belt off of her. And I still stand by this. I feel like Athena should have won the AEW Women's World Championship at All In this year in Texas, man. I think it would have been such a fantastic moment. Now, she did win a Casino Gauntlet to earn a chance to win the championship, which she did lose to Toni Storm. But I feel like it was so well-deserved, because you're right, the demand is high for her. And I feel like she should be one of the names heading into AEW in 2026 that should be in the conversation to become the AEW Women's World Champion, right? Whether it's someone to take down Chris Statlander, whether it's someone to take down Mercedes Moné, because they do have history together. They had their match earlier in the year, Spring Breakthrough, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was at Dynamite, and it was such a fantastic match. But you're absolutely right. I mean, she's phenomenal. She's a great wrestler, and I feel like she definitely needs like that push. Or what they could do is, when she loses the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, they gotta make it in a way where the person that beats her gets elevated to the moon because of how dominant she's been as a champion. You want to make sure that the challenger that knocks her off gets the same procedure, and Athena gets pushed into the AEW Women's Championship picture, and then hopefully wins it and has a long reign with that as well.
I think so too. And we are getting down to the nitty gritty. We got Say in the comments here with Athena losing that belt is long overdue. She should have been on the main roster last year. I think that's what's interesting is I think the public perception is obviously ROH is beneath AEW in some way, and that there is a difference in the main roster, but I'm not exactly sure that that's how that internally the company views the way it works. I don't think that's the system that the company believes is in place. And that's where I think that part of the reason we haven't seen that is because internally AEW doesn't view ROH that way. Fernando added, I think Queen Aminata should be the one to dethrone Athena. I think that'd be awesome. Queen Aminata, I think, is super, super, super underrated. And then we've also got, speaking of underrated, Fernando added, Athena is so underrated, it's criminal. Couldn't agree more. And Numero and Superfly added, congrats to Athena. Now do something in AEW. She's been champion in ROH long enough. It needs to be champion in AEW already. See, these are the comments too. And y'all are regular viewers of the show, friends of the show, Numero One and Fernando. I think that's where we're on the same page. But at the same time, there's brilliance in the fact that they've let it go this long, and now there's demand for Athena on AEW television. Now her stock has risen throughout all of this, and there is some sort of a brilliance to us as fans, us as hardcore we consume wrestling content every single day, and in that space, we really want to see Athena. Really quickly before we go to the next topic, though, Ant, I want to get any thoughts on Athena's title reign.
Yeah, man. So once again, I'm a little upset with everyone who keeps acting like the ROH title is beneath the AEW title, because it's not. Ring of Honor's been around for many, many years. Ring of Honor was here before AEW came in. So to act like it's a below title is ridiculous. I don't want anyone to beat Athena. The women need to have a Bruno Sammartino type reign that they can look back on. I want Athena to have a chokehold on this title. I want Athena to be the Hulk Hogan of this. Like when she starts hulking up, when she starts getting in her mode, you know she's gonna win. Like, I want Athena to be celebrated, because what so many people talk about, and what I've heard a lot, on my show earlier, is that WWE fumbled her. And no, Athena said in an interview that WWE threw her stupid money, life-changing money.
Yeah.
They wanted her to be that. And she bet on herself. She was not happy being there, and she left. And look what she has accomplished. So I want her to continue betting on herself. I want her to be the champion that she is. Congratulations to Athena. 3 years, 33 title defenses. That's 11 a year, guys. Yeah. Right? She is the female Roman Reigns. Her finisher is the best in the business, probably only rivaled by the Soul Snatcher. And I loved her when she was Ember Moon. Yeah, I loved her when she was Ember Moon. I love her as Athena. If someone beats her, it's got to be Willow Nightingale.
Ooh, I like that call. Willow would be a fun one. That's sure.
The only person worthy of taking that title from her.
I dig that. I think Willow is outstanding too. But let's keep it rolling on today's show, because we could talk about. Shoot, this is 2 subjects in a row. We could probably talk about the rest of the afternoon if we needed to. But let's talk about TNA and some stars being unhappy. This one is a funky one, as I like to say. But according to Fightful Select, TNA more than one, quite a big list of names are unhappy with current creative. So then we did a fan poll over here at WR, at Wrestling Republic. We had a couple hundred votes. 88% of the vote said that TNA needs a creative change. Now, I gave up math years ago, so I don't dig numbers or stats. That's not my gimmick personally when it comes to pro wrestling. But at the end of the day, 88% is pretty darn undeniable. That is a lot of people. I got myself in trouble. I my mouth tasted a little bit like foot when AJ Francis checked me on one of my takes about one Mike Santana. Monster shout out. I'm a fan of both performers, AJ and Mike Santana. But TNA just got a TV deal, and this doesn't feel like good news. Ant U, can you quantify all this for me? Because, man, my head is in a pretzel.
I don't even know how to look at this. I miss the days when people would just come out and be like, I'm not happy with creative. But now you hear, just that multiple people have said it. Well, Trey Miguel went on Twitter and was like, I don't know where you guys are hearing this from. So is that just a little bit of, damage control? Probably. Are there people who's not happy? I'm sure. No matter what promotion you go to, no matter what stage you go to, someone's not going to be happy. So sure, can you find 2-3 people who are going to say they're not happy with creative? I'm sure. Things like that should be handled in-house. I don't like dirty laundry getting out. It's cheap talking points. It's sure, let's report this. I'm glad we don't do stuff like that. I'm glad we just talk about the issues and we give our opinions. But I feel with the TV deal coming up, and with TNA making more money and being able to do stuff and be able to do more live tapings and things, I think we're going to see a different culture change. Do they need new creative? sure, let's shake things up. They've got a great roster of talent over there. Let's start seeing what they can do with people.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from too, and Donnie, it sort of echoed a little bit of the sentiment that you just said there, where he said you're never, Donnie DeSilva, a good friend of the show too, you're never gonna make everyone happy, but the overwhelming majority are. That's all I'm allowed to say. I think that's fair, but at the same time, Fernando Zayas is here in the comments with TNA talent should be unhappy. Talent from NXT continue to get booked to go over them almost all the time. I do think that is a funky deal. There's a lot of NXT feel at times, and I do think that's a fair assessment from a lot of people. We've also got, well, I can't blame TNA stars on being unhappy for their booking. The stories and most of the pay-per-views have been underwhelming, and they literally buried Mike Santana in a nonsensical way. That's from numero one Superfly. Yeah, here's where I'm stuck. I think TNA is awesome, and the ambition to try to move up a notch, because TNA it's been like a sliding scale since it's been a company since I've been alive, right? TNA was the original, like, there's no competitor, it's pay-per-view only in the early 2000s and everything. Then you have like the Dixie Carter era, the Impact rebrand. I mean, you've had numerous different things over and over and over and over and over and over again. And this TV deal is a big deal because they're trying to make a step up and a step in the right direction. I think maybe part of it is, okay, wait, y'all got a TV deal. Now we're going to try to nitpick and find little flaws within. And I don't even know if that's necessarily fair until they debut in that TV deal. I'm not even sure exactly what the product we're going to get is going to look like. And Dez, that's something I want to ask you about. What do you think about, is TNA, poised to make a step up? Is part of the reason maybe there are some of these complaints the fact that they've been working towards a TV deal and they've been working towards drastic change to be more marketable in a larger market than they currently are? What are your thoughts on that, Dez?
I will say, I think Ant U and Donnie hit it on the head, where it's more so not, you can't please everybody, right? You can only try to please so many people as once. So there's always going to be someone that's not going to be happy. And you pretty much hit it on the head, where it's like, I am also glad we don't report on this type of stuff, because it just feels like it's just there to cause a division, where it's like, oh, they're unhappy now. So it's like, oh, there must be drama brewing. Like, oh, you got to find out what's going on in TNA. Like, they just got a TV deal and they're going to have an extra on AMC. Like, we still got to wait and see how it happens. Has it been underwhelming at times? Yeah, I'll agree. I think it has been underwhelming at times, but it's like we have a whole new page now. My honest opinion, I think Saturday night's main event could have the trajectory to really push TNA over, and that's having Leon Slater and Javon Evans taking on AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, because if they want, they could do AJ Styles versus a guy like Leon Slater on the first episode of TNA, so it can give that really big match to TNA fans, where they're kind of like, oh, you're just giving us like these mid-card NXT talent, where now it's like, okay, we're putting AJ Styles back in there. So I still feel like it's still left to, we still have to find out and see what happens, because 2026, I feel like that's the bigger year for TNA. But to say they're unhappy, I mean, sure, they could be unhappy. I mean, sometimes in life we just are unhappy, but it's just one of those things where you got to put your pride aside. You just got to do it.
I think you brought up a perfect point there, though, and I think we're all on the same page when it comes to this. It's like too early to tell.
Yeah, exactly.
If that makes sense. And I think because of TNA's longevity in the industry, it's easy to get your head wrapped around history. Mm-hmm. Right? And like what it looked like. They had a Spike TV deal back in the day.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I need you guys to understand that the TNA X Division Championship is about to be in the same ring with one of the greatest TNA X Division champions of all time.
That is so true.
Exactly.
That is very true. For the first time in years.
Yeah, the TNA champion was at WrestleMania this year. Like, yeah, he lost, but the TNA champion was at WrestleMania. Like, that's nuts. Crazy.
I mean, and the moment with Orton's off the charts. And to Donnie's point here, NXT on TNA has been amazing for TNA. It helped them land 2 national TV deals. Wins and losses mean nothing in the big picture. And yeah, I can totally agree with that. I wasn't trying to say that like they're buried by the NXT, but they just are so linked in my brain. It's hard for me to sort of separate the two at times, is I think what I meant when I was speaking on that earlier. But Donnie, I'm in agreement. Yeah, like I'm not saying the partnership has been negative necessarily, just at times it starts to feel a little like they're just so linked that they'll never be separate, if that makes sense. Not and you can never only I'm a Star Wars guy, not a huge one, but only a Sith lives their life in absolute. So never
Right.
doesn't exist.
Well, only one person in TNA is one of the champions in TNA is an NXT guys, and that's Stax. I feel like they brought the NXT stars over. They put belts on them to get eyes on the product, because eyes on the product is what needs to happen. And now, slowly but surely, you're starting, like JC Jane lost to Kalani, and Kalani lost. So, yeah, dude, they're getting the belts back on the NXT stars, or TNA stars. They got this TV deal coming up. It's going to be a live show, the first one in Texas. So I'm excited to see it. I can't wait to see it.
Oh, no doubt about it. We've also got Davis in the comments with my peeps. What's going on, Davis? Good to see you. Great show last night on Tuesday. And then Donnie said my comment was in response to the person saying NXT keeps beating TNA. It doesn't matter, is my point. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you there. I think we're all on the same page. No doubt about it, Donnie, for sure. Okay, let's get into a fun one, though. Let's have some fun with this one, guys, because speaking of John Cena, he mentioned another interesting point in an interview with Mr. Van Vliet, which is that Brock Lesnar tends to retire in his home state of Minnesota. Ironically, with just a very quick Google search, you can find that SummerSlam next year is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Don't get that confused with Indianapolis, Indiana. This is Minneapolis, Minnesota. And that is a lot of P's and I's. That's all I'm saying. But Dez, if Brock were to retire in Minnesota, first and foremost, do you see that as being the case? Does it look like you think he's done on this run? But I mean, the three of us ought to pick who it should be, right?
Oh,
who in your mind should retire? Brock Lesnar, I'll start with you, Des.
All right. So I do believe this was going to be the plan, because last year there were talks that WrestleMania 42 was going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But of course, I got pushed back because Vegas hosting WrestleMania. So now they pushed towards SummerSlam. And I agree. I feel like Minneapolis, Minnesota is a perfect place for Lesnar to retire. As for the person, there's three things in mind, but I don't want to say something that you guys are going to say. So I'm going to just hit the one that I feel like I'm missing in on. Gunther, of course, because why? Gunther is Brock Lesnar. Like, he is literally what Brock Lesnar is doing, right? He's knocking off the big guy. He's a dominant champion. He is losing in a big pay-per-view, but right now he's like one of the top heels in WWE, and he's just going through everybody, just like Brock Lesnar did. So to have Gunther retire Brock Lesnar, I mean, that's like, how more menacing can you get?
I hear you. Gunther retiring Brock. It seems, Des, I think you've had a heck of a show today, but I'm not going to lie. That is such a softball. So he's going to retire Goldberg, Cena, and Brock. Come on,
there's two other guys I was thinking of.
Like, I don't want to pick who you guys might pick. So I'll take the easiest one.
Of course.
The easiest one. I will say this. Donnie says, I don't see Brock retiring next year. He loves the payoffs too much, but when he does, yes, Gunther 100%. I love that. Yeah, even if it isn't necessarily in Minneapolis at SummerSlam, just to keep the question rolling, let's stick with that hypothetical. Who would it be? So we have two picks Gunther now, by the way, on the show. Donnie, much appreciated. And then Davis adds, our very own friend of the show as well. If Gunther retires Cena, I think we know where the Gunther character is heading, and Brock is on the menu.
Yes.
Oh,
just like
wow.
Brock did in 2014.
That is interesting, Ant. You have an opportunity to either push all the chips into the Gunther part of the table, or you might want to gamble elsewhere. Talk to me. Who do you think it is?
Yeah, I'm going to gamble elsewhere, because we all know if you're an African-American world heavyweight champion and you hear Brock Lesnar's music coming, it's never a good end for you. So with that being said, I think an African American should retire Brock Lesnar. So I'm going to go with the young upstart, the man who's going to destroy Cody Rhodes this Saturday at Saturday night's main event. I would love to see Obafemi retire Brock Lesnar.
I was
agree.
really hoping you would say that.
Yeah.
Because I get this Gunther being the retirement guy. But someday we're going to run out of retirement. We are. Remember when Randy Orton was the legend killer? Well, then he killed them all. And then he couldn't be that anymore.
That comment's crazy.
So it ends at some point.
Yes.
It ends at some point. I love the idea of Obafemi. Oba makes a lot of sense to me. But you know who I would honestly think is just the funkiest, coolest choice you can make that really deserves it? Jacob Fatu.
Oh.
I think Jacob Fatu, personally, my belief is that Jacob Fatu should retire Brock Lesnar. And here's why. When I look at Obafemi standing across from Brock, it is awesome. On a poster, I think it's amazing. I think it's something that would be really, really, really cool. I would absolutely love Obafemi on the other side for that stare down. But to me, at the end of the day, when it comes to Brock Lesnar and his retirement, I think Fatu is the logical choice because of this. Jacob Fatu has the athleticism to wrestle a match that the others do not against Brock Lesnar. He can still look equally as intimidating, but this man can fly. This man can move at that size in a way that outside of maybe Braun Breaker, who isn't going to bump for Lesnar like that. Braun Breaker and Lesnar is essentially Goldberg Lesnar 5 or whatever at the end of the day. Obafemi Lesnar is a slugfest. That's Ken Griffey Jr. 97. There's no debate about that. But Jacob Fatu, Brock, is agility versus strength versus technique versus just like styles make fights. It's a cliche, but it's a cliche I've always believed. Styles make fights. And Jacob Fatu stylistically, when perfectly healthy, taking on Brock Lesnar, taking on Brock Lesnar in his retirement match, I am so intrigued by. I would be delighted by that match. I think Jacob is the perfect mix with Brock, and we're not allowed to say moveset. Sorry, CM Punk, but it's the perfect moveset opposite Brock Lesnar's moveset to execute this at the end of the day. And that's my thoughts. But I would go Femi as my second pick, and then I think Gunther's who it's gonna be. So go figure, right?
I would take Drew McIntyre as my third pick. Their match at WrestleMania
I like that one.
was beautiful, and I think Drew retiring Brock Lesnar would elevate Drew to that true superstar status he wants.
No doubt. And Donnie added and I agree with him in a lot of ways. If Brock wants to retire in 2026, I'm not sure we have enough time to make Jacob or Oba main event box office draws. Maybe, but it's going to take a lot of work. I would agree. And also pending Fatu's health. So do remember, I'm definitely saying that from a perspective of like in a perfect world, right? He's in good health and we have the time to build this for sure. Donnie, because Donnie is absolutely 100% correct on that. He also added Drew's the ultimate plug and play piece. You can put him anywhere. I agree on that. Drew's an interesting shout. Do you have any backup shouts, Dez, before we get out of here?
That was ones basically, yeah. Obafemi, Jacob Fatu, and McIntyre. Those are the three I had, but I didn't want to say them. I had to do like a single. I couldn't get that.
What about Breaker?
Breaker was one I had to. I had to.
I don't like Breaker in that match.
The only reason to do Breaker would be if Brock's health isn't well enough to wrestle more than like
exactly. It would have to be like a Survivor Series
if they're
2017.
Do a sprint, and that's why I made the joke about it'd be like Goldberg and
Yeah, that's what I
Brock
agree.
right?
Like Survivor Series.
If you had to
2017.
do a sprint, I think it's interesting. None of us mentioned Roman Reigns because he doesn't need it.
No, he doesn't need it.
No, not at all. But
I mean,
could you imagine if Sami Zayn retired Brock Lesnar?
now I'll say
People would be
this:
so upset. I feel like
if it's
Maybe
really going to
not.
happen in Minneapolis, though, there's a guy whose entire nickname is based on Brock, the Beast Slayer. Seth Rollins might make a lot of sense given their history.
True, but I don't know.
He really then
Seth
not
doesn't
only
need it
is he
either.
Yeah, I agree.
He doesn't need it, but if he's the guy that took him down and then also puts him out to pasture, that's a heck of a feather in probably a pretty extraordinary cap given Seth Rollins' fashion choices of late. But that's neither here nor there. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. That's going to bring us to the end of the show. We appreciate you so much. We hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. Check out everything else on the WR platform. There's all kinds of good stuff going. If you missed the TikTok live with Ant U today, it was off the charts. If you're missing Dez, he's on literally everything. We can't even get rid of Dez. He's on like every other show. And not only that, we've got Grappling for Position. We've got all kinds of stuff off the air. Make sure you check out everything that we're bringing to the table here at WR. No doubt about it. We'll be back same time, place, though, for the daily. Same time, place. Same time, same place for the daily tomorrow. That's, of course, at noon Pacific, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, 8 o'clock in the UK, and 9 a.m. for my good friends in Hawaii. On behalf of me, Clark Taylor, Ant U, and Dez, everybody at WR, have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will talk to you soon. Whatever.